128 years ago, a gruesome and horrific crime happened in Fall River, Massachusetts. A man and woman were brutally murdered with an axe. The suspect of the crime was the man's daughter, Lizzie Borden. This is her story. Lizzie Andrew Borden was born on July 19, 1860, in Fall River, Massachusetts. Soon after, her mother Sarah died. Her father, Andrew Borden, remarried 3 years later to Abby Durfee Gray. The family lived a comfortable life. Andrew was successful in manufacturing and real estate. He was able to support his wife, 2 daughters, Emma and Lizzie, and even employ servants to keep their home in order. The children continued to live with their father and stepmother even as adults. The Borden sisters' relationship with Abby, however, was not close. They'd refer to her as Mrs. Borden, and they were concerned that she was just after their father's money. Emma was protective over Lizzie, and together, the sisters helped to manage the rental properties that their father owned. Lizzie was very involved in the church that the family attended. Though this seems like a normal life, things would soon take a very ghastly and sinister turn. On the morning of August 4th, 1892, Andrew and Abby were murdered and mutilated in their home. Lizzie alerted the maid, Bridget, to her father's dead body. He had been attacked and killed while sleeping on the sofa. A search of the home led to the discovery of the body of Abby Borden in an upstairs bedroom. Both Abby and Andrew were victims of a brutal hatchet attack. Policemen called to the scene immediately suspected Lizzie as the killer, but they didn't take her into custody at the time. Her sister was out of town and thus was immediately ruled out as the perpetrator. During the week between the murders and her arrest, Lizzie burned a dress that she claimed was stained with paint. Prosecutors would later allege that the dress was stained with blood. They theorized that she burned it to cover up the fact that she was the murderer. Lizzie was indicted on December 2, 1892. Her trial began 6 months later. Lizzie did not take the stand in her own defense, and her inquest testimony was not admitted into evidence. The testimony provided by others proved inconclusive. On the 20th of June, 1893, Lizzie was acquitted of the murders. No one else was ever charged with the slaying of Abby and Andrew Borden. Lizzie and Emma inherited a significant portion of their father's estate, in which they'd lived together for over a decade. Although she was free, the damage was already done to her reputation. Her neighbors and many members of the community had a negative opinion and outlook on Lizzie. Her reputation took another blow when she was accused of shoplifting in 1897. 8 years later, in 1905, Emma abruptly moved out of the house that she shared with her sister. They never spoke to each other again. It's possible that Emma was uncomfortable with Lizzie's close friendship with another woman, Nance O'Neill, although her silence on the issue has fueled speculation that she learned new details about the murders of her father and stepmother. No member of the household staff ever offered additional information, even following Lizzie's death. Lizzie Borden died of pneumonia in Fall River on June 1, 1927. Her sister Emma died just days later in Newmarket, New Hampshire. The significance of this case is that it was the first widely publicized trial to feature the use of crime scene photographs. The photos were extremely graphic, and this was the first time something like this was presented to a jury. Crime scene photos were taken of one of the victims of Jack the Ripper, but they weren't used in the trial. This paved the way for forensics, but it also fueled the imagination and fears of the American public. The house that the murders took place in still stands today. It is now the Lizzie Borden Bed and Breakfast Museum. It was meticulously restored to how it was on that fateful August morning, and you can even eat the same breakfast that the Bordens had just hours before being slain. The ghost hunting crew, Ghost Adventures, along with many other paranormal investigators, have investigated the location and claim that it is most definitely haunted.